Jesus came that we may have life and life more abundantly. How can we say that we're for life when we encourage a practice that takes life? How can we say that we're for life when we encourage a practice that takes life? Thank you so much for liking your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button. Smash the subscription bell. Share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is ingrained in the American culture. That is what is considered as a bedrock in American culture. But for a large percentage of would-be Americans, life has not been realized. And I'm talking about the unborn. Texas recently passed a law that essentially bans abortions after the heartbeat has been detected, which is usually around 6 weeks. And while Planned Parenthood and others attempted to fight the law, this law is unique. It's unique because it doesn't put the power in the hands of bureaucrats or legislatures to enact or enforce this law. No, it empowers citizens. It empowers the people that have the power. It empowers the governed to go out and actually, if they see an abortion or participate in abortion or see someone participating in an abortion, they have the ability to sue. Now, some on the left will call it vigilante justice. The same people that argue that what will potentially happen in Texas, which I don't think it will, but nevertheless, they argue that this will lead to vigilante justice. But yet those will be the same people that justify all the rioting and all the looting and everything that happened last summer after the murder of George Floyd. The same people that would call this vigilante justice would say that what happened last summer is justified when people's livelihoods were destroyed, when homes were destroyed, when actual people were shot and killed. And they will call that restorative justice. Well, I disagree. It's clearly spoken of in the Word of God how important life is, how children are the heritage of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is his reward. Blessed is the man that has his quiver full of them. How God hates those who run to shed innocent blood. And this country has been guilty of shedding innocent blood. So I'm excited that this law passed and that the legal fight against it, while I'm sure there will be more legal fight that was attempted by Planned Parenthood and others, were stymied. I'm happy because not only will babies have a chance now in the state of Texas, so all throughout Houston and 3rd Ward and 5th Ward and Dallas and Austin and San Antonio, El Paso, all the minority communities in the state of Texas, those babies will now have a fighting chance. Not to say abortions will cease, because they won't, unfortunately. People will still make decisions to have abortions. But I want to say that those babies now have a fighting chance, and I hope that people will think twice before killing their babies. And especially for the 20 million black babies that have been destroyed since Roe v. Wade. At least a sliver of them will now have a shot in the state of Texas to be born, so they'll not be murdered in the womb. But the arguments on the left are so typical and so expected and so tired. There was this interview that Elizabeth Warren did on MSNBC, and the same old arguments, talking about abortion as if it's just a procedure, not even thinking about the fact that a life is being taken.
Hyperbolic when I tweet about The Handmaid's Tale coming to America, but I don't think it seems hyperbolic now. Does it to you?
No. So, I lived in an America in which abortion was illegal when I was young, before Roe versus Wade. And when abortion is illegal, rich women still get abortions. Women with resources still get abortions. Women who have time and who have friends in other places will still get abortions. So what this law is really about is not stopping abortions across the board. This is about bearing down on the most vulnerable among us. It's bearing down on the woman or trans person or non-binary who's working 3 jobs, the one who's already stretched to the limit, the one who is a child who has just found out that she is pregnant and doesn't know how to get organized to get herself the kind of medical treatment that she needs. And this law says it's clearly trying to push in the direction. They're going to do everything they can. If you are vulnerable, if you don't have alternatives, to make sure that you are forced into carrying a pregnancy that you do not want to carry.
The fact that they can be so callous and not even think about the fact that a life is being taken during an abortion. That is so cold and so godless. But unfortunately, that is the culture of those who agree with the left and the progressive and the liberals. Their thought process, do as you will. That is satanic in its nature and its origins. Do as thou wilt. Aleister Crowley. Do as thou wilt. That is so satanic. It is straight from hell. That's the same temptation he gave to Eve in so many words. You don't have to listen to God. Do what you want to do. Has God said? Do you think God really is true? You think his word is true? It's not wrong for you to kill what's inside of you. It's not a baby. That's not a life. It's just a bunch of cells. There's nothing inside of you. That lie has been perpetuated because, that same spirit infanticide, that infanticide spirit has been around since the days of Moses. I mean, the same spirit is what led Pharaoh to want to kill all the boys. That same spirit is what led Herod to kill all the boys that are under 2 years old. That same spirit. Because the devil has always been trying to kill the seed. But he failed because Jesus was born, lived, grew up, healed, delivered, died, and God raised him up again. So he's upset by that. So now he's looking to destroy babies and anybody, any human life because of that fact. But I'm so thankful that at least victory has been won for the voiceless, those who cannot speak yet, the most vulnerable in our population. I'm so thankful that the tide is starting to turn, because I am a supporter of the life of the unborn. I am. Life is so precious. Life is so critical to God. Life is so critical to us as a nation. If we want to continue to have posterity and grow as a nation, we can't continue to murder our offspring. We can't. That's pagan worship. Pagans did that. They would sacrifice their offspring to the devil. And we can't do that. And for Christians to actually agree with abortion and support it, endorse it, that is wrong. I'm sorry, that is wrong. We are about life. Jesus came that we may have life and life more abundantly. How can we say that we're for life when we encourage a practice that takes life? How can we say that we're for life when we encourage a practice that takes life? So be encouraged. I'm encouraged by this Texas law, and I hope that other states will follow suit and that we start to see a change when it comes to the value of life in all of our communities, but especially in the Black community. Because We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. But it's up to us to ensure that victimhood does not cascade down to our unborn. That victimhood does not cascade down to the most vulnerable. Because we are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. And we must stand up and fight injustice wherever we see it. And abortion is injustice to the life of the unborn. It simply is. It simply is. Because we are not victims. We are empowered for greatness.